You know, there's part of our hobby which is very sad, but it's actually a very important part to consider. Certainly, a lot of ham radio operators, are older, and of course we're all people. We're all susceptible to the ravages of living on this world, and we don't last forever. So I was giving it some thought lately, and one of the things that happened to me last year is I was out shooting a video in a local park, and a lady walked up to me and she said, "Are you a ham radio operator?" And I said, "Yeah, I am." And so we had a nice discussion. A nice lady. She mentioned to me that her husband had passed away recently and that he was a ham radio operator. And he had quite a collection of radio gear, and would I be able to help her find a home for the radio gear? I'm holding in my hand a set of Hustler mobile whips. This was only a small part of what her husband had accumulated over the years. And the reason I'm talking about this, and by the way, these are cold. I'm just going to drop them in the car just for a moment while I finish up. The reason I'm talking about this is because it's a logistical issue for the ladies whose husbands pass and leave all this gear. What the heck do they do with it? Now, there's also a little bit of controversy in here because there are people in our hobby who, in some cases, take advantage of these people who will swoop in, buy up expensive stuff, give them a small amount of money for it, and then turn around and sell it for what it's actually worth on the used market. But I believe that's a smaller part of the whole scenario, and I just wanted you to think a little bit carefully about, if you're ever in a situation like that, what I was able to do, I got in touch with the local ham radio club here, and what they do is they'll go in situations like this, and they will go over the gear, make sure it's working properly, and then they'll offer it up to club members at a reasonable price. And in that way, they gather some money for the club and help fund club activities, which is very pro for the hobby. And so, if you're ever in a situation like that, consider that sort of thing. But one of the things I wanted to share with you, I asked this lady for a little bit more information on her husband, if she had any background information that I might be able to share with my listeners and viewers, because I did explain to her I've got a YouTube channel, and I wanted to take just a moment to describe to you what her husband's ham radio life was like. So first up, the ham in question here, the man who owned the mobile Hustler whips and a lot of other gear which went to the Burlington Club, and by the way, the widow's name, the very nice lady, her name is Helen. The ham in question was Gordon, Victor Alpha 3, Alpha November. And I got a series of text messages from Helen, and one of them was, "Hey, knowing it's going to be of use to others is comforting. Please thank the others as well." So Helen goes on to write, when we were in Manitoba, so they lived in the province of Manitoba prior to moving to Ontario. When they were in Manitoba, his call was VE4, Golf Alpha. He used to run phone patches to Alert. Now, Alert is way up in the Northwest Territories and was part of the Distant Early Warning System. Now, he was an emergency operator in Winnipeg running communications to a base station to the south of the city during the 1976 flood. Winnipeg has I believe it's the Red River, which runs through and occasionally floods and can be bad damage. In 1976 was a particularly bad one. He got his license when he was in high school in the early 60s, and his first radio was a Heathkit, which he built. In Winnipeg, he had a huge gem quad on our little bungalow. I wonder how many of us watching this can relate to that. Fortunately, we had very tolerant neighbors, which I do not currently. Later, with his background in IT, he was busy exploring and experimenting with the digital software. It was a great hobby for him. His high school teacher was instrumental in helping him and other students at Leaside High School in Toronto getting their licenses. His name was Carl Bedell, Victor Echo 3, Delta Zulu Bravo, and he passed away in spring. That would have been last year, 2024. At the age of 100, he had been active for a number of years, but still loved to talk about anything ham. Can we give a shout out to all the teachers out there? And I don't know how many out there are still doing that, but if you are, congratulations and thank you for supporting our hobby by growing it amongst the youth. So there you go, a little bit of background. If you should ever come across a situation where a widow is looking to get rid of, to dispose responsibly of her husband's radio gear, even if it's older, even if it doesn't appear to have a lot of value, you know what? It's a real burden for these people. Help them out a bit, and anytime you come into possession of a piece of gear, as I have with these Hustler mobile whips, think back about the ham who owned them previously. And if you can get a little bit of backstory on that individual, it sure brings the old gear to life, as well as the fact that, hey, the stuff goes to a good new home. You or somebody you know is going to be able to get value out of it, because some of this stuff, like those Hustler whips, are really designed to last for years and years and years. I have no idea how old these are, but it wouldn't surprise me to learn that these were purchased back in the 70s or 80s. Anyway, that's my thoughts. Silent Keys, their legacy, and how the ham community today can carry forward the spirit that these people brought to our hobby when they were around. And of course, it's a cycle. At some point, my gear is going to go to somebody else when I pass away, and likewise with yours. Listen, that's all I've got for this time. I'd appreciate any thoughts you might have on this topic. I find it interesting and compelling. Tell me what you think in the comments below. Love to hear any experiences you have with regard to Silent Keys and their gear. Thanks for watching. Now it's your turn. Get out of the shack, get outdoors, and get on the air. 7-3 from Tracy, VE3 TWM.